Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going back to the third hour here of this amazing game called Fall of Magic. So we're in Estalia. We just got here, and let's do some scenes.
Hmm.
So it's up to you now, Kabu.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. I am going to go to the wharf
Ooh,
to talk about the first time you saw the
yeah.
sea, which for Kabu happens to be right now.
Oh shit. So what happens?
I think that uh, first of all, I think River is there. I think the two of them are sort of like getting a lay of the land, or maybe you're from Estalia, actually.
Yeah,
So maybe you're like
maybe I'm giving you
showing
the lay of the
me,
land.
yeah,
Well, how do you
giving me
feel
the
about
lay of the
me?
land.
How are you?
Uh,
How do you feel about me? Because I took that sword and all.
I mean, like, I feel like he's still a little like he's upset that he has the sword, but he's not, you know, he doesn't blame you for taking it. I mean, obviously, you shouldn't just take swords, but whatever.
Okay,
you know,
sure.
it's not like he was on good terms with Stormguard anyway.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, and I think we're walking along, and Kabu takes his first glance at the sea in his lifetime, and he just freezes, like looking at it. And I like point, and I'm like, is that the is that the sea?
Um, I nod and say, it's the ocean.
I've I've never seen it before.
And
It's
I point off in the distance and we see some seagulls and stuff. And I say, it's called the Endless Sea because no one has seen the other side in forever. And apparently, the only one who can, or who has, is the Magus, right? Or the Maguses before that. Supposedly, on the other side of the sea lies the land of Umbra, but no one has ever seen it.
but that's where we're going, isn't it?
And I nod and say, I hope you like ships. We spent a lot of time on one.
Oh, I don't know if I like ships or not.
Yeah.
I think he looks over at like at the wharf and all these like sort of fishing boats sort of mingling around in there, and he's like, I could get used to a ship.
Hmm.
And that's the scene. And Kabu is just amazed at going to a place no one has been to before with the only person to have seen the whole sea.
Hmm. Well, I know what I want. I'm back in Astalia. I'm having a Nazad station, an unexpected reunion. It's my mom, and
This would be the train station, right?
yeah, I think so. I think maybe they're like coming back from a trip as well, and we cross paths. And oh my god, my mom is very, very, very prim and proper, and obviously I'm nothing like them. And
Hmm.
they call out, River. Or actually, they don't say River. They say my actual name, which is
Oh.
probably like Estancia or something. And I like put my head down and I'm like, ah. Then I put on a good face for my mom, right? So I'm like,
Hmm.
Mom, hey, I was gonna let someone know that I'm in town, and she's like, oh, come on, I hope you didn't make living arrangements somewhere. Come on, because like you were always welcome back at our place. Come, we have so much to discuss, and I kind of just trail off, and she says, as she's kind of like ushering me away, She says, "Oh, have you seen it? Have you seen my sister Matilda recently on your travels to Ravenhall?" And then that's where we go.
Mm.
So I'm getting sucked away by my mom.
uh, you know what? So it's my scene, yeah.
Yep.
Uh, I'm going to go to the marketplace of magic because it has this weird symbol.
Yes. So you want me to describe what that symbol does?
Please do.
You lose a tag.
Oh no, I think I only have one tag.
You can lose your name or Knight of Stormguard as well.
It probably makes sense to lose Knight of Stormguard.
Yeah. So what are you doing at the Marketplace of Magic?
Um, at the marketplace of magic.
Indeed.
Huh. I think I'm just going around to all the different like shops. I'm picturing sort of like a bazaar type area.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Um, and just like marveling at all these things, and then eventually I work my way into what is basically an armor smith, uh, and I have the emblems of Stormguard pressed and melted off of my armor.
Ooh. Okay. So we see the symbols change. Do you do anything to the
Yeah.
sword?
Uh, I don't do anything to the sword, but what I do is I find a I find a pommel. I buy another sword and I detach the pommel and I sort of dig it. I chisel at it, and I use that mundane pommel to cover the pommel of the Storm King's sword.
Ooh. Okay. So you're
And
hiding
yeah,
it. Yeah.
I think I think if, he also gets a new shield that doesn't have a big Stormguard emblem on it.
Hmm. I like it. Cool. Dig it. Let's see. I want to do. I think I want to do Badwater District.
Ooh.
Um, it's called this because, well, I think the Badwater District was originally called the Badwater District because it originally was really bad for. It's near the war. It's like near a dock or something like that, but it
Mm.
never was good at fishing. And unfortunately, I feel like Estalia is also keeping a secret. So much alike to Barley Town, there is something beneath the surface, and that Estalia is lying to its people about how good this fishing is. And um, I think when you see me go out to and I think it's like outside the Badwater districts, I start singing the song about the sailor and trying to get some crabs to show up, and none do. And I think you hear like some old crone like lady being like, like don't bother singing, girl. The crabs don't come anymore.
Oh no.
Um, and I think they say that they think that the magic, like, don't you get it, like the magus, it won't, nothing will be the same until the magus returns to Umbra. Only then will Astalia's seas refresh and our songs are heard beneath the waves again. And she's like, but I've been able to sing just fine to hear what's going on. And she's like, the closer you get to um the endless sea, and the distant shores of Umbra, the more will be revealed. But it's not bad omen. It's just failing at the word. I guess, it's like it's not
Hmm.
you don't talk about this curse. Like you don't talk about curses. Curses it's talking about curses make them worse. So she doesn't want to talk about it anymore. Right?
Yeah.
So and I nod and I stop singing and stuff and I guess I kind of like go back to my mom.
Hmm.
That's my scene.
Trying to think. So I think the scene takes place at Starfall Academy. Do you want to play the Magus in this scene?
I would love to play the Magus. What's going on?
Uh, well, the hook for this one is how you fix what is broken.
Yes.
And
So,
I think it's the first time anyone has seen Kabu in his new armor.
yeah.
And yeah, he sort of looks to the Magus for advice. And he's like, I don't know how to deal without, I've been a knight my whole life.
I wizard. Or he says I Magus, of course.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, I never pictured myself becoming an enemy of Stormguard.
And I think he kind of looks at you. Says, "It's hard to know that when the world that you love, the world that you know, feels like it's against you." And he's
Mm.
obviously talking about like the duplicitous nature of
Yeah.
himself, right? When he's saying this, whether or not you pick up on it, like we can play
Yeah.
with. But like he says, he says, but it's a burden we have to carry, and it's a burden that to choose one's path. Paths are not always known. Some of them are laid out. Some of them are yet to be determined. I can tell you, I'm envious of you, Kabu. As he says this when you're down. He like does kneel and
Mhm.
like gets on your level and says, I'm envious of someone who still has st- what's the word I want to say? Who's still able to pathfind, right?
Mm.
Like I'm envious of the one who can tread a new path,
Yeah.
whose things are not laid out for them.
And I think what happens is I hold up like my hand to show like the gauntlet where the emblem has been like
Yeah,
melted away, but there's still like that metal fused there.
yeah.
And I was
This
like,
is
I
yeah.
shake my head and I'm like, Magus, in all your wisdom, how could you come to envy a fugitive?
It says because I know how my book ends. You are just closing a chapter. There's much left to be written in your book. But such is the price of being a magus, a price that I paid. This is not a complaint. I wear my responsibilities with pride.
Hmm.
Nevertheless, I would be lying if I did not say I had some envy. This is a gift, Kabu.
I
He says it sincerely, right? Like he's looking, he's like, no, this is a
yeah.
gift. You were free to be your own person, right?
Mm,
Look, you were never meant to stay cooped up in the storm mountains, working for the Storm Queen. You were meant for so much more. You are always meant for so much more. And whatever darkness you're feeling, whatever sense of loss, confusion, there's also hope and chance in your life. Things can change, and you are holding the steering wheel of this ship. You know, he just
yeah.
jumps through metaphors. I don't give a fuck.
I think
But
I think
anyways,
Kabu he uh he sighs deeply and he's like, "Thank you, Magus." You know.
he nods and he does like one of those like hand over heart kind of things and like nods to you a little bit.
Yeah.
And
I
I'm not sure if your
think as
character. I'm not sure your character would want this. Like, because
hmm,
what I offer you. But pretend it's something that you do want, and
okay.
he'd be willing to give you a nicer new set of armor, or a nicer clothes, or something that makes it feel like the new you, right?
Mm,
But he knew. But he would. I don't want to say like what it is because like I want to actually hear what you say it is. But
mm.
whatever it is, it's exactly what you wanted because he's attentive and knew what where
I
you were
think
going.
uh I think what it
And he did it
is
without asking
it's
you. Like he just did it
yeah.
by, it's a really
He's
thoughtful gift. It's a very thoughtful gift to get you going. So what
right.
do you think that is?
I think it is a pendant with a glowing orange jewel in the center
In the shape of a rose.
in the shape of a rose, and it has an engraving around the ring that says, "Keep it close to your heart and follow your heart."
Says only God can judge me.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
I'm my own special flower.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
Awesome.
put that pendant on under my new armor.
Lovely. Dig it. Cool. Good shit. That was a good scene. I like
It
that.
was a good scene.
Um I'm gonna move the Magus. Where the three of us are consorting on the docks. The Magus is not believing my sincere belief that there's at least one ship here willing to take us across the endless sea. And he's like, nonsense. We do not have the coin nor the prestige to do this. No one has done this before. How can this happen? Who out here is among us can take the trio who cannot pay across the endless sea, risking life and property for what? And an old lady steps forward and says, "I will." And she like takes down the cowl of her cloak, and all we hear is "Grandma," and um, that's the scene. I
Perfect.
mean, if I need to describe a little bit more of the hospitality, I don't really. It's fine.
No, I think that I
Yeah,
think that's perfect.
it's my grandmother.
Uh, I think I will have the first scene on the Sea Wing being the cabin, where the hook is the sound of the ship.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think we see
Ooh.
Kabu sort of he sort of stumbles around as we like set out to sea. You know, he's not
As you
quite
do.
yeah, he's not quite used to being on a big wooden thing that moves.
Yeah, this is completely alien to I think anything that Kabu
Yeah,
has experienced, right?
like he hasn't even seen like a large lake in his lifetime, let alone the sea.
Yeah. So this is crazy. I think Grandmother Black is whispering words of encouragement to you.
Mm,
Um,
as a grandmother does.
yeah. I think the ship together. This isn't my scene, and I'm not in it,
Mm.
so like you can tell me to shut up. But I think in this is I think the whole ship is singing along to that song that I was singing earlier.
Ah, the crab song.
Yeah, the crab song.
Good old crab song. Yeah, and I think it's slowly he just sort of puts his stuff up in the cabin and
Yeah.
listens to the sounds of the ocean. Whispering words of wisdom,
Woohoo.
let it be. Thank you, Rooster Castillo in the chat.
How we find our way. Um, we start the day off trolling our our pots. We lay out pots in the ocean behind us, and for some reason it works. Let it go. Um, and we fish out one of the pots that has crabs in it, and we see the grandmother come over to a crab, and just like casually grab it, and it's doing like the like
Yeah.
as the crab does when you pick it out of the water, and you see the crab grandmother pet it and like whisper something to it that we don't hear, and you see it no longer go from like trying to grab her to like it very calm and being like okay, okay, and she throws it overboard, but rather than splashing and going to the and sinking like a normal crab, it stays on top of the ocean and starts water walking, and like everyone's okay with this, like they know that this is the way you do it, and we're following a crab on the water as it like water walks over in the direction to the nearest land, and so it's taking us.
The ship must be moving not too fast.
Yeah, well, it's the peril of following a crab.
Yeah. I think Kabu is at the sort of like mast, just like looking at this like weird crab following ritual in just disbelief.
Part of me wants to re-amend that and make it like you turn the crab upside down and the crab like points to north or like where land is,
It's a crab compass.
which I like more than that.
Oh,
The crab
perfect.
compass is actually cooler.
It just knows.
Yeah, and for some reason when you do that and you turn it over, it will orient itself to where land is. You
Yeah,
follow
it
it. You
points
follow it.
towards the nearest land.
All crabs do. All crabs point to land.
Yeah.
Like that's an obvious fact. I don't know why you're looking at me like that. So
I don't think
that's how we
Kabu has
find our
ever
way.
seen crab whispering, let alone crab navigation.
Yeah, crabigation.
Crabigation.
All right, it's my turn. Oh, for the record, we should talk about something real quick because we are running up near the end of the third hour, like in 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, each of these islands, we flip over a card from the island, and then we get to Umbra. I think for interest and speed of the game, we will skip the islands, and we will when we move, we will end up going across the endless sea to the ruins of Crowhall.
All right. Ooh. Uh, and you know what? I think it's more interesting if we just move there.
Okay.
We'll forego these islands. We'll be at the ruins of Crowhall. The hospitality of the Magus himself.
Question mark?
Yeah, of the Magus. Yeah, it's his own hospitality.
The darkest timeline, Magus. No. Okay. Set the scene for us.
Yeah, I think we come ashore in Umbra, a completely foreign continent to us, but well known to the Magus.
Mhm.
And he leads us in sort of a weird shift of roles because so far we have been taking the lead and delivering the Magus, but now he's sort of on his home turf. and he leads us up on top of a hill to this like ruined village of
Ooh,
Crow Hall, and he takes us inside one of the houses. He and he says a few words, and light sparks from his hands and floats about the room, filling it with warmth and heat. And we are in the hospitality of the Magus.
cool. We go to the menagerie, or what's left of one.
Ooh,
It's a
there's another
distorted,
menagerie.
yeah, it's a distorted mirror of Ravenhall, and I think we see, um, rather than any people or anything like that, we see a pretty desolate, like like the day after a summer festival. How it's like barren
Mm,
and all the rides and stuff are out. It's something like that, only more fantastic. Like empty pavilions that are like old, so they have like holes in them and weather worn. Um, but that's not what we're focused on. In the middle of there, we see River, um, keel over and in pain, and we see her disease get worse as like we see like spikes and crab stuff like start sticking out more and more out of her clothes and her shoulders, and it hurts her. It hurts. It's pain. So we hear her crying out in pain, and so she is the nightmare given form. She's not full.
ooh.
She's not full crab, but it's bad.
She's going from like 25% crab to 50% crab.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Uh, I am going to have a scene in the sculpture gardens. Uh, so I think the sculpture gardens, if this is sort of a mirror of Ravenhall, they are where the rose gardens would be just this massive ring around the scrying pool of just all these statues of important figures, like past mayors or stuff like that. And then where Kabu finds himself is at a statue of the Storm King, a younger version of the Storm King.
Oh shit.
And while Kabu is contemplating, he takes out the sword that he got from the tomb of the Storm King, and he sort of like holds it out to the statue, being like, "Take it back," and it sort of falls out of his hand and clambers to the ground.
Does the
And he
statue?
reaches,
Yeah.
yeah,
Rejects it or?
the statue is stoic and unmoving. Kabu reaches down slowly and picks back up the sword. And the tag I will gain is lonely.
Aw. We go to the
Oh,
scrying pool. Only the scene's going to be less about me and what we hear. I'm like going around the empty basin of the scrying pool. There's no rose gardens here, right? The rose,
mm,
like instead there's just these sculptures. There's just endless amounts of these sculptures. And we hear, and as I'm like walking around the scrying pool, maybe I'm like in the basin now, like walking around in it. Um, I hear the sounds and clashes of conflict as I think as you pick up the sword once more after trying to give it back, we cut back to your scene,
mm.
Kabu, and I think the statue comes to life and tries to fight you,
Oh,
and that's when you like block its sword.
Yeah,
Um,
there's a, there's a stone replica
Guardian.
of the. Well, he's using a stone version of the sword that I actually have.
Yeah, he does. And he doesn't seem very happy about it. So you are
Well,
suffering in my absence.
yeah. Uh, hmm. All right, I got my idea for my next scene. It's in the menagerie, which is only fitting because I also did a scene in the other menagerie. And this area seems to be all about them parallels, which I'm about. Uh, a nightmare given form. So I think Kabu is spending some time reflecting in the menagerie when he stumbles upon a artifact, a sort of like glowing coin shaped object almost, and he palms it around, and then uh, he is suddenly engulfed by this like nightmare of foul magic, where in a vision the coin begins to glow with bright light and radiates to the scar on his face, which
Yeah,
we
it
could,
does.
which Kabu opens his eye that was scarred for the first time in years, and it begins to burn. And the nightmare is given form, and his scar is burned over with another one.
Oh man, does it
And he
look different?
drops, yeah, he looks pretty different. Like he's kind of got a Zuko thing going on now.
Mm.
uh, and he drops the coin and runs out of the menagerie. And we see that the coin has the emblem of Stormguard on it.
Oh shit. Okay.
So Kabu burned the emblems off his armor, and the emblem burns him back.
It's anime.
That is anime. Almost everything I do is anime.
That's fair. That's why I love playing with you. It's weird. I don't even watch anime, but like, I definitely draw from it in my games. It's just so easy.
Yeah.
It's so emotional. It's no, not emotional is the wrong word. Emotive is the right word. It's
Yes.
emotive. It's very clear
It's a
about its
very,
intentions, and it's
yeah.
pretty. It's kind of like, I don't want to say straightforward because that gives a connotation of it being like rudimentary.
No, yeah, but it
Um,
does, it plays off its characters' tropes very well.
exactly, and that works really well in story games.
Yeah.
Um, I'm gonna move Magus.
Ooh.
I feel like the Magus like dispels the or at least wards off the despair of Crowhall as we make our way to some violet mountains, like a very light or like a lavender colored mountain with like white tops, and behind that, in lieu of the sun, the thing that's been lighting up the day here in Umbra has been this pale white yellow glow coming from behind these mountains. And I think we hear the Magus like sigh and say, I can see the last pages of my book to himself.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Huh. Oh no. Oh, I just saw that all of these things have the loser tag symbol on them.
Yep.
Oh, this is not a nice place at all.
Nope.
But I will move to to touching,
Okay.
which is why I serve the magus.
Okay.
Uh, would you like to play the magus in this scene?
I would love to play the Magus. What's
Sure.
going on?
Um, Man, I have to describe what I have to think of what the area around the glow looks like. Hmm. I think the place where we've made camp is like a hilltop overlooking a chasm that is just glowing outward with magical energy and sort of filling this whole sort of canyon area with like a weird sort of blue set light. Uh, and Kabu is holding the sword with the fake pommel removed. Now just outwardly wielding the sword of the Storm King. And a awful scar on his face.
Yeah. But I think
And
I think the Magus tells you to put away your sword and there is no help here.
yeah,
What do you
I
do?
I think I pull it back and I say, "There's no clearer image I see of myself than through the reflection of a blade."
That's anime as fuck.
Yeah.
That's the most anime thing I've ever heard you say. That's awesome. Fuck, that's what we should have done. Well, no, it's not that what we should have done because it's not like this was bad, or this was actually pretty spectacular. Side note, you and I should have played Reflections.
Yeah, we should have.
That's what we should have done as a two-player game. 'Cause that is a two-player game, and that's okay.
I've seen
Anyways,
you play Reflections before. Yeah.
you and I playing Reflections would be sick. So, anyways, all right, I'm just gonna make a note there, being like, me and Cypher, I gotta play Reflections sometime.
Yeah.
Anyways, where do I want to go? Oh yeah, I knew what I wanted to do. So the last time you saw real magic.
Oh, and I guess the tag I would lose in that scene would be lonely
Yeah.
because I had been consoled by the magic.
Yes. Um. As we're basking in the radiant glow of where the source of magic is, we see the terror on River's face as she sings the song of the crabs, but to like and like prays to the gods to help her. But just like the fishermen, the gods do not listen. And well, they have their own morality, I think is the best way of putting it. Rather than returning, um, I think she hears like a in her head, like she gets this revelation that rather than returning to what she was, she will forever be this like half crab person. Her
Mm.
beauty has waned, um, but um, the magic also says that her destiny is not yet fulfilled, and that she will return the oceans of the sightless sea to the way they were. In other words, I'll save it. But no, in other words, she's bringing the crabs and wildlife and stuff back to Astalia.
Oh, we're bringing the crabs back.
Bringing the crabs back. So that's the magic. That's the last magic she saw. So she loses beautiful, in my mind.
Nice. Hmm. Wow, I have just come to the realization that I only have one tag left, and it's my name.
Yeah. Well, you have don't you have wealthy?
No, I lost that.
Oh yeah, you lost.
In the Marketplace of Magic in
No, you
Estonia.
lost. You lost Knight of Stormguard.
Oh, you're right. I do still have wealthy.
Yeah. Don't sell yourself short, my dude.
Yeah. Though I will sell myself short because I'm gonna go to the third place here. Voices, my face in the glow.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, and I think it's Kabu sitting near the sort of schism of glowing like magical energy, just sort of observing it and thinking to himself. And he stays there for a while, and at one point he pulls out the blade and looks at his own reflection in it and winces slightly as he sees the new scar on his face as the light from the sword hits it.
And what do they see?
Uh, he sees the. I think he thinks back to his upbringing. His like he was born to a good family. He went to the academy at a young age. And like, you know, he wasn't the best student at the academy, but he tried his hardest and was, you know, happy there.
Oh, bless him. He's trying. Yeah.
He just tries his hardest, and he comes to the realization that it might have all been for nothing. And Kabu is no longer wealthy. He is simply himself.
Aw. No strings on you, my friend.
Exactly. But what if
And
I want some strings? What if strings are
yeah.
good?
Well, we have to save that, I think, for part 2, because I think we're gonna end it here.
Ooh. Will magic survive? Find out.
On
Never.
All of Magic Z. No, I mean, my epilogue is things slowly return to normal. The magus disappears, ascends, or apothesizes. Maybe I don't even
He
know.
falls into
He goes
the
into the glow, and we don't
Yeah.
see him. But you know, River knows what they must do, and River must belong to the sightless sea and usher fishermen and travelers and such. In a way, that's their destiny, is to basically be a druid of the waves. And like, I mean, I don't really like bringing in like D&D lingo into my story games, only because it's so limiting. But I mean, it's pretty fair. I am a warden of the waters.
Ooh.
Water warden's a great name.
Good old water warden. Yeah, I think.
That's like basically, if I were to wrap up my epilogue, that's what I do.
I think Kabu's epilogue is he over
Just to
over the
talk.
next few months he works his way back to Ravenhall.
Yeah,
He doesn't go through Stormguard this time.
I was fair. I was gonna say that it's just Natasha Bedingfield's "Unwritten" is his theme song.
Yeah, and I think he finds himself back in the rose gardens, and he sort of sits in a world that magic has returned to. He sits under a canopy of orange roses, and he thinks that maybe it might have been worth it.
Dope. That's Fall of Magic. We did it.
Yeah.
What do you think?
No, that was great.
It's a cool game, right?
Yeah.
It's really sick.
I was
Yeah.
I went into this thinking like, oh man, like, this is a cool game. I don't know if it can work with two people. Like, are you sure, Eric? But like, we did it.
Believe me, it's good. 2-player games are fun.
Yeah, there.
They're different. They're definitely different, but
It's
a lot of fun.
it's a lot more of a person to person dynamic going on.
Very much so.
And then when you have
So,
a group of like 4 people.
yeah. Right. Totally.
Yeah. It was
So
cool to just sort of bro out and tell a story.
yeah, that's broing out and telling a story. I think it's totally cool to bro it out and tell a story is like quotable on the box
Yeah.
of Fall of Magic.
Yeah.
Um,
I think bro out and tell a story is the alternate title to your show.
yeah, this is a great game. I really like Fall of Magic. I don't know. Can you make an expansion to Fall of Magic? I have no idea.
Maybe.
I'm sure Ross would know.
It seemed like
I had the supreme pleasure of meeting Ross at Go Play Northwest last year. Amazing, nice person. Great person.
I mean, it feels like this is a super simple game to hack. You just have to make your own scroll.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that heavily. I would love. I mean, I have no qualms sharing it right now. I'm definitely thinking about making it FTL of Magic.
Ooh.
Where you go through the different sectors with the different prompts, and then rather than
seem like FTL.
Then rather than going to the rather than the magus leading you, what happened? We reverse it, and so when you go to the new place, you show the Empire or whatever's chasing you showing up on your tail.
Oh.
Right? It's the Empire that's always following you.
Yeah.
So instead of the magus leading you, it's something following you. And instead there'll only be one token, but it's like we're all in the ship together. I think would be the way I would do it. So then we all would be different members of the crew of a ship, and so they could do FTL. It could do like Voyager. It could do kind of like anything on the run. It could even do like something small scale, like you are bringing back medicine and you're going against like a Borg horde or something. Like whatever. It doesn't matter, or like zombies or something.
And then the ships can have giant robots.
Yeah, or like nano drones, like whatever. Like the threat, there's a looming nebulous threat, whether existential or physical, chasing your ship.
To the thing.
Exactly. And all I got to do is just rearrange these amazing prompts and add some.
It does remind me of that there's this one episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation where basically the Enterprise just runs back to the Federation this whole episode, and they're like, yo, the Borg are coming, and they're like, whatever.
Yeah, we got this. So
yeah,
it's not like Outpost 34 or whatever. It's about Outpost 34. I don't know.
I've never heard of Outpost 34.
Okay, I don't know. It's like an outpost. It's something about an outpost. Anyways, all right then. Well, that's all I got today. I love this game. This game's Fall of Magic. It's available in PDF from Heart of the Deernicorn. I'm playing on Roll20, and Roll20 has this super primo version of the game that's already set up for you, has all the cards set up, has all the tokens set up. This is a pre-made module that you can purchase, which I would recommend doing that way. So that's awesome. But if you want to play this with friends, splurge and get the scroll. The scroll is freaking beautiful. It's a physical scroll. The tokens that you have, these icons, these are actually coins. They're metal coins. They have weight to them. The tactile sensations of this game.
Well, that's how you get like
adds
anyone
to the game. It's not superfluous.
Yeah. Like you want to get someone immediately interested in a story game. Be like, you want to play a game? Metal coins, scroll.
Yeah. And you're like, what do we do? And you're like, talk. Just keep talking, and it's amazing. It's a really really fun time. It's really good. I wrote about Fall of Magic a few times now on my blog. A few times my first musings is that I fucking love this game so much, blah blah blah. The second time was like, boy, now having played Fall of Magic a lot, it's not a beginner game. It's it doesn't offer you any support or structure when it comes to how to tell a scene.
Yeah, it is definitely not a baby's first story game.
It's but then I've I've had on more than one occasion people just step up and just crush it, knock it out of the park. Like my last blog
Mhm.
post I wrote about was exactly on this subject.
Some
Uh,
people are just like naturally built for storytelling, I've found.
I had exactly my last time I played this game, I had one person who's played Microscope and Fiasco before. I had another person who's never played anything but D&D before. And then I had a third person who's played nothing but D&D before, who also had English as their second language. And all of them crushed it. Just blew me away. You can read about it at ericvolkaris.com,
Mhm.
but it's amazing. It's a great
I do
story.
love playing
I
with
love it.
people who've. I love playing with people who've only played D&D because you get to show them that there are other genres of tabletop RPG.
Yeah. When I so this is why I stopped and had to explain what a scene is, because I just recently had to do that. When I was like, oh, we just do scene to scene, and they're like, wait, hold up, what's a scene? And I was like, oh, that's okay. Um, no, that's a really fair question. Like honestly, that's a super super fair question, and I think that should be talked about more. Okay, so think of like in terms of a movie, like shots and stuff like that, or think of part like pages of a comic book. A scene is sort of just you're gonna lay it out, and because it's Fall of Magic, you're also gonna kind of end up resolving it or introduce people into the scene and kind of hash stuff out and see what happens at the end of it. Like there's like kind of a question involved of like what's gonna happen, or you're trying to show us something instead of telling us what's going on, which is also cool.
Mm.
Um, so that also is great. Um, I like this game a lot because this is the way I role play. This game is very very much how I GM and role play. I do a lot of cinematography, description, and then also like the notes, like the footnotes of what's actually being said, like the marginalia of or of the script being like, yeah, but he's totally lying to you right now when he says this, right? Like
Yeah.
I tell you more than what is just being said from the
And
perspective.
also bear in mind that we told a very in-depth and interesting story with only 2 dice rolls.
Yeah, and the dice rolls are superfluous. They
Yeah,
just give you a variable detail. It's not important necessarily.
like, yeah.
To be fair, I've had an important one, and now I can also share with you this anecdote, also from the game that I just played. I had the opportunity of talking to an Oracle character, and I was like, Oracle, what will happen to the Magus? And I roll, and the answer was silence. And I was like, the other ones were like, you get what you want, you don't get what you want, and silence. And
Mm.
I got silence, and that was the perfect answer, frankly, which was awesome. Like it was really cool, but and like we got that just from a die roll. So I think the die rolls add value. Like it's a good mechanic. Like it's better than a coin flip, but it's also like it's a function. It's like trying to judge an apocalypse move based on like like the three different types of apocalypse moves. The something happens, gain hold or like choose stuff, right? Like those are like the three different types, and like you're just looking at a type of way of expressing the idea, which is still a prompt. Like that's still the core thing is the prompt, and now you're just looking at a way to express a prompt. And so it's sort of like the mechanic itself of listing out those things is less important as the prompt itself, and the prompts are always really good. Ross did an amazing job with these
Yeah.
prompts. I have no idea the amount of playtesting that must have went in to like get these prompts right. Um, I'm sure Ross would be like, oh, I didn't do anything. I'm just kidding. The guy probably this game's probably one of the most well play tested games out there. Um, it goes to show, I think, that playtesting games matters in a big way. The
Hmm.
difference between version 1 and version 50 of your game is night and day. Blades in the Dark, my Fall of Magic, and my favorite example is Downfall. which requires 3 people. But that game has gone through so many iterations and versions, and the finished product of that game is just premium. So, anyways, that's it. That's it for us today. We solved Fall of Magic's puzzles. We did it. Sci-Fi, how can people find you on the internet?
Twitter.com/sci-fi with an underscore.
Ooh, awesome. Yes, go follow him. He tweets about Gundam. Is the best Gundam gifs.
And I may or may not be writing a mecha-based RPG at the moment.
Nice. Awesome.
I've decided. I found a mecha hack for the Sprawl that I've play tested once, and I'm like, these rules are good, but I don't like the Sprawl's playbooks for mecha.
Yeah,
so I'm
it doesn't
writing
really
my
work.
own.
Fair. Okay. I'm Eric. I'm Eric Volgaris on the internet and everything like that. And thank you so much for hanging out with us today, chat and viewers. Thank you so much, Sci-Fi, for playing with me today. Once again, sorry that we didn't get to do Kingdom only because of people had to last minute cancel. So, but this was well worth my time. This was amazing. This was really good pizza, really good fiction pizza. So thanks for sharing it with me.
Kingdom on Friday, though.
Yes, we'll be at Kingdom on Friday. Take care, everybody, and have a great rest of your night. We're out of here. See ya.